Hello again, this is Sean Garswood for Turbulentus Poker, and switching it up a bit today, we're going to do a hand history review of a tournament I recently played on PartyPoker in the KO Series. It's the Micro Super 7 $5 50 buy-in. It was a 2-day event, so a decent slow structure. Unfortunately, I didn't video record it, but the benefit of that is I get to go through the hand history with a group of other players, which you'll be introduced to shortly, and get their collective perspective on how I played this tournament, what I did well, and where I bungled it. And we'll get into that very shortly. Okay, so I'm here now with one of my review partners, James. Say hello, James.
Hi there.
James and I met through the pokercoaching.com forum and exchanged quite a lot of notes and hand histories and various other things on that forum. It's been great. And recently invited me to join his study group, and they've kindly agreed to go through one of my recent hand histories with me for a tournament I've played recently. Played a lot of MTTs in the past, but the last year I've focused mostly on cash. So there's some areas of the MTT world that I'm a bit rusty with. So hopefully we'll pick up on those as we go through, and we'll all get something out of it. All right. You ready to go through these hands then, James?
Yes, mate, ready to crack on.
All right. So the first one looks pretty obvious. We're probably not going to play this. Oh, it's frozen. Why has... There we go. So I'm in the big blinds. Oh, I might actually defend this. I do. I better say the tournament is the Micro Super 7 2-day event from the KO Series on PartyPoker. And a bit of a spoiler alert, unfortunately with the downloaded hand histories, we don't get the bounty information unless I specifically open the text. I might actually be able to do that. Should we just have a look at that, James?
Yes.
So if I go to raw text, it might show us the bounties.
No, unfortunately not.
No. I thought it might, but it doesn't.
So if we review this as a normal freeze-out tournament, and then hopefully if you'd make any strange decisions, then we can assume that a bounty was in play.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. Yeah, that's grand.
Okay.
Right, so let's see what happens here. Not a lot, I'd imagine. And fold.
Yep.
Okay, next hand, small blind. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to fold this. Yeah. Okay, ace queen off on the button by the looks of it. So, are you... I've got a feeling I'm going to 3-bet this. Would you? Or would you just call this?
I know previously Jonathan Little always used to advocate 3-betting with your offsuit, strong Broadway hands, and actually just flatting with your suited. But
Yeah.
really, at this stage in this tournament, with a lot of weak players, I'm going to 3-bet almost all of my strong Broadway hands just because I want to isolate the weak players while they're still in.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'm pretty much in the same vein there. So, what about sizing? We're 100 big blinds deep here early in the tournament, and the tournament levels are 14 minutes, so it's actually a slow structure.
Normally, I'd look to go about 3 times their size, but because he's gone needlessly small, I'm going to size up a little bit. So I'd probably go anywhere between 7 and 8 big blinds is fine.
Yeah. So yeah, I went with 7. And the big blind calls. That's always fun. So with 3 ways to flop, and we're in position. You checking back here?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, heads up, I think we've got a strong range advantage. And as the 3-better, we can probably bet about third pot with our entire range. But as soon as it gets multi-way, we don't really want to be trying anything fancy. We've got a marginal hand, so I would just play it as a marginal hand.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're in agreement there. Okay. And it checks through to us again. Just checking it back. Just looking to get a cheap showdown at this point, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a horrible river card. And we get donked 1 big blind from the big blind. And then I think it's an easy fold.
Yes, I agree. Yeah.
Someone's got a jack and someone's got a flush by the looks of it. Yeah, in the hands. Fold. Pretty sure I'm folding that one. Easy open.
Yep, same sizing I would use as well.
And we just take it down.
Cool.
I'm sure I'm folding that one. Big blind, I'm probably folding this one unless the small blind limps. Yeah. You're not defending that wide, are you, even to a min raise?
No, definitely not.
We're in the small blinds. Yeah, 3.5x open. I'm not going fishing on that one.
I think we'd be fine to open ourselves there with the jack 5 of clubs, but once the cutoff opens, we're just going to get out of the way.
Yeah, I'll probably be the same there. No, not making any stupid loose opens yet. Would you consider opening that mid position? No, probably not.
I think it's a bit too tight from the cutoff. That becomes fairly straightforward open for me. Just checking the charts, and from the cutoff, it should actually be a fold as well. So I have to make sure I'm not playing too loose there.
Yeah, sometimes I go a bit loose. If I'm on a weak table and it's a bounty tournament, I do open up my ranges quite a lot from certain positions. But I think even from the cut-off, we could get into trouble because there's a lot of people that seems to be trending again. A lot of people like to flat on the button, particularly in tournaments.
I mean, to me, opening wider in a bounty tournament does sound a little bit counterintuitive. I think we're actually going to get called more often than we would in a regular tournament because a lot of the fish are going to be focusing solely on your bounty that's available to them. And so they're going to call wider. And I think if our opponents are calling wider, we should actually be looking to open slightly tighter than normal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a wide approach, yeah.
Yeah, I think when I'm in the later positions, cut off and button, I'm opening slightly wider because people are over defending their blinds and getting married to weak top pairs, and making other questionable plays post flop. I guess my point is I'm trying to get post flop more with some of the weaker players.
Gotcha.
I think for the most part though, I particularly in the early stages, I play a lot tighter than the average player on these tournaments, for the same reasons that you said.
Yeah.
All right, nothing to see here. Big blind probably defending this unless it goes nuts. Not to a 3-bet, no. So limp pot. I'm just flicking it in here with the 2 suited cards because it's a limp pot. Would you stay out of the way, or are you going to take a flop?
I mean, we need to realise so little equity there. What was it about? We need to realise 10% equity.
Yeah, something like that.
We're easily going to do that. We just have to be careful not to get involved in any reverse implied odds situations here.
So checks round, and hopefully, okay, didn't win anything out of that. Right, move on.
Are you able to show what the opponents had?
PartyPoker doesn't let you download that.
Okay.
You can. Most people within the software on PartyPoker, there's a setting that says show mucked cards or hide muck cards. Most people have it set to hide muck cards. So when you get the hand history downloads, you don't get to see what they had.
Okay.
In game, I probably would have made a note if someone was limping like King 7 offsuit under the gun or something like that.
Yeah.
So if I see anything majorly fishy or very trappy, like someone limping queens on the cutoff or something like that, I'll make a note of those sort of things.
Yeah. Cool. Me too.
Right, we've done the hand. Right, Ace King on the button. Easy 3-bet. I'm going to, because we're all still relatively deep and he min raised, I've made it, I've gone to 7 again, but I'm targeting about 3.5x in the early stages.
Yep.
And yeah. Are you in tournaments? I feel I still use similar flop betting strategy to in cash games, but I've started to lean more towards just an exploitative betting strategy. I.e., if I think they've got something and I'm pretty certain my hand is better, I'm just going to bet bigger for value. Does
You
that
can
make?
certainly get away with that in the early stages of tournaments where the opposition are likely to be weaker. If you're in a more expensive buy-in tournament or in the later stages, I think you can still get away with it, but you have to be very careful because observant opponents will start picking up on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is mostly in PKO type tournaments.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I think we probably should be going small here from a theoretical point of view because we want to be able to bet our entire range.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
by going big, we can take advantage of their ace queen, their ace jacks, their ace tens, and get paid a lot more.
Yeah, and flush draws. No one likes folding flush draws in PKOs.
Yep,
So
very true.
I think on this one I do start with about. I think my a fairly my small sizing. I have actually, because I've been playing quite a lot of micro stakes cash. My small sizing is a little bit on the larger side. It's about 38% pot,
Okay.
which I think I do here. Yeah, 6.2 into 16. We get a call, and then on the turn, I think I size up because if he's got an ace, I want to get maximum value, and he's going to tell me anyway if he's hit his flush.
Yeah, I suppose my only question with sizing up would be, what are you hoping to get called by that you're still ahead of? As in ace, queen, ace, jack still?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
That said, I didn't size up on this, so I carried on with a relatively just slightly less than half pot. I guess my thinking here was probably keeping his ace X for as long as possible, and if he's gonna raise me with a made flush, then I'm not committing too much to the pot.
Yeah.
But he just folds.
Okay, that's probably a good result.
Probably not playing that in the cutoff. Ace 10 suited, easy open. We get 3-bet and a caller. I think. Oh,
Oh.
I was going to say a 3-bet and a caller. I'm going to see a flop with this hand.
Yeah.
But when it gets 4-bet, I think we're just out of there from the cold 4-bet.
I mean, what would you have done had it folded around to you without any callers? Are you 4-betting or are you flatting?
I think with this hand, I'm just going to flat and take a flop.
Yeah.
And I'm basically playing it like set mine in. I'm looking to hit a flush draw or a straight draw or both preferably. If we hit an ace, I'm just going to proceed cautiously, not get carried away with it. And that's about it, really.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
But we get 4-bet out of the pot, so not far. King 10, big blind defense, not to a 3-bet. There's a lot of 3-betting going on.
Yeah, it seems to be quite aggressive. What buy-in did you say this was?
$5.50.
Oh, right. That was surprisingly aggressive then, actually.
Yeah. I think in these like kind of big series events, I think you get the guys that normally play sort of mid stakes, the $11 to $55 bracket,
Yeah.
will drop into these tournaments because they're really good value.
Okay, that makes sense to me. Yeah.
Because you know it's a 15K guarantee. First place is going to be around about $2,000. It's a slow structure with a soft field. I mean, it seems to me to be a no-brainer to play it, even if you're playing, you know, the higher mid-stake levels.
Yeah.
Uh, I always and are about defending weak, raggy aces to versus early position opens.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I would say low jack's not particularly wide, so not particularly early. Are you ever tempted to put a bluff in here and try and take down the 6 blinds that are already in the pot?
Not in a PKO because we're just going to get called so wide.
Okay.
I think what I'd more like to do is just defend, and yeah, if I flop 2 pair, I'm going to try and stack ace king. If I don't flop 2 pair, or you know, I'm probably call a couple of streets if I hit my ace and fold the river to more aggression.
Okay.
In a freeze out, I might consider squeezing, but
Yeah.
In a PKO, I mean, if for example the cutoff has if he's flat here with Jack 10 suited, he's never folding to a 3-bet or a
Yeah.
squeeze. You know, he's got, I've got a, you know, a suited connected hand, and I want to see a flop.
Yeah. Especially when he has everyone else covered.
Yeah. I might bluff this turn though. Would you bluff lead this turn?
Well, I imagine we have very little showdown equity as it is at the moment. The only way we are going to get anywhere is by bluffing, unless we make a spade on the end. But for 4 ways, I don't think I do. I think I just check and hope to see the river card for free.
Apparently I disagreed.
Yep.
I think I've actually led out with an overbet. I've gone about 1.2 pot
Yep.
lead, and we get it through.
And is that something you're looking to balance? Are you over betting with made hands at this point as well?
Yeah, if I had pocket eights or randomly queen 3 suited or something like that, I would probably do the same.
Okay, cool.
And also, if I had ace 7 of spades here instead of just the naked ace,
Yep.
I would probably do that as well, because someone's sitting there with the king of spades, they're going to want to see the last card.
Yep.
Unless they realise the board's paired. But you know, against fish that can't bear to fold without seeing the last card in case the flush comes in, yeah, I would do that. And I might even do this if I had, I don't know, a 5-3 of hearts.
Okay.
I might actually do the same sizing for the same reason, to get maximum value out of a 1 spade draw. Obviously, if I get raised, I'm folding. But
yeah, I mean, you have to. I mean, if we're talking about being balanced here, you're going to have to find a lot of bluffs then, because obviously the bigger we bet, the more bluffs we need in our range. And if you start over betting with your threes for value as well as your flushes and your pocket pairs, I think we need about 50-50 bluff to value ratio here.
Say that again.
I think we need to find about 50-50
right
to value here for over betting. I mean, that could be wrong. I mean, again, if it's a big field tournament, you're probably never going to play against these players again. So often balance just doesn't matter. We can take exploitative lines that we think will make the most profit in this instance.
Yeah, and that's more what I lean towards. But I will, what I say, it's not going to be a perfectly balanced strategy.
Yeah.
It's what I think I can get away with versus the players I'm in the hand with right now.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's fine.
So, I mean, if I had the king of spades here, I wouldn't make this bet.
Okay.
I'd only bluff the ace of spades. If that makes sense.
Yep. Yeah, that does make sense.
Right. So that was that hand. Would you? Sorry. Let's go back to it quickly. I'm just interested. What would you have even been tempted to lead out here, or were you going to check call and just try and hit the river? Because the other reason for me over betting here is I'm most likely to be the only person that would have a 3 in my range.
Yeah, that is true. I just have very, very little bluffing range when I'm multi-way like this. Again, especially in a PKO. Heads up, yeah, for sure. If the guy fails to see bet on a board, that's arguably better for. I mean, they probably have more queens, probably more 8 combinations as well. In the big blind, we do have more 3s.
But it's also because it checks through on the flop. No one has a queen. One of them is going to bet a queen if they've got it.
Yeah.
If it gets round to, what is it? Right, the under the gun one, the one that's shown as under the gun isn't actually in the hand. It's actually only 3 ways. I'm not quite sure. I think that's a glitch.
Okay.
So anyway, I figured no one's got a queen, and yeah, if you're sitting there with pocket 7s without a spade, what are you going to do against this bet?
I think it might be a bit dangerous to assume they never have a queen in their range. I mean, if I'm opening, say, queen 9 suited from the low jack, and it ends up multi-way, I'm probably going to check that there.
That's true. That's very true.
I mean, again, it comes down to our opponents. Are they balancing their range as well? In the lower buy-in tournaments, probably not. They're probably not not balancing their checking range well enough.
No.
But again, it's hard to know.
Yeah. So, I mean, there might be a bit of a spew, but I get away with it.
Yeah.
But even still, if you're sitting there with queen 9 and I do this...
Yeah, very true.
yeah, how are you going to respond to it?
I mean, I'm probably going to end up folding my entire range in that spot and making a bad mistake because I'm probably going to be c-betting most of my flush draws. I mean, in my head, I would think that I've got the ace of spades in my range still. I probably wouldn't c-bet my nut flush draws on the flop. But here, with you blocking ace of spades, I'm probably going to end up folding my entire range against you here.
Yeah, so...
Which is obviously a problem for me actually.
Well, this is... Do you know what? Yeah, a couple of years ago, I would never have made a play like this.
Yeah.
But this is having spent 150,000 hands this year playing low stakes 6 max.
Yeah.
I've come up with a lot more creative ways to play pots, and it's transferred back into my MTT games.
I mean, well, yeah, it's working. Work charm here.
So anyway, let's move on. Otherwise, we'll be here all night. I don't think I'm playing that on the button. No. And stuff like this, I'll just go back. When people start 4x opening, I start making notes on that. If I get to see what hand it was, because it's quite often a tell.
Yep.
I'm not playing that. I may or may not open this. So this is a 7-handed tournament anyway, so it's not a full ring. Yeah, I do. I think that might be a little bit loose, but...
I mean, looking at the charts here, it's got 7-6 suited being an open from essentially retreating it as under the gun +1 as if it was 8-handed. We can open 7-6 half the time.
Right.
That's fine.
So I'm just taking a drink.
Yep.
So we get flat called in 3, 4 places. Beautiful.
And that's not actually that bad. If we're going to go 5-way to the flop, 7-6 suited is pretty fantastic.
Oh yeah. I'm not. It's same as like opening pocket 3s there. If you smash the flop, great. If you don't, you're out of there.
Exactly.
I think that's a pretty smashed flop. Doesn't get much better.
No.
So let's see what happens. How do I play this? Oh, I do bet. I thought I might go for a check raise here. So I bet on the big side, which is interesting. I still thought I was gonna check raise this.
Yeah. I mean, why do you assume that you're going to face a bet here, or are you just happy to see a free turn if no one does bets?
There's not a lot of hands I'm gonna bet on this flop with four other people going to the flop. I'm basically, mind you, that said, we're talking about balance. I'm gonna bet my pocket threes, my pocket fours, my strong jacks, and obviously pocket jacks. And I'm probably gonna bet with, if I've got aces and kings, I might check raise.
Yep.
Queens, I'd definitely bet for protection.
Yep.
Which is why I'm thinking I would balance my check raising range with a hand like this.
Okay.
I don't know. Let's see what happens. Maybe ace five of spades would be maybe a better check raise than 7-6.
Why'd you say that?
I just think it's got. Actually, no, it's got a bit more. It's got a bit more showdown value. I think with the ace five of spades, we know we've got the nut flush, whereas with this hand, if we get more action on a flush run out,
Yep.
we're probably what's the words? Inversed.
Yeah, I think if we were heads up, 7-6 suited here would be a much better check raise because we have no showdown value at all. And also, if we do get a 5, it's a little bit disguised. And with the ace of spades, 5 of spades, heads up, we do have showdown value, and it would be a shame to throw that away. Multi-way, I think the ace of spades in the hand would actually serve quite well to block the opponent's continuing range.
Right.
So yeah, I could definitely get behind the argument, check raise with the ace five of spades instead of this.
I obviously check in on the jack turn. We've had two callers. Board's paired to top card. They both call. I think I was probably ready to fold this, but when they both just flat call, I think we need to see a river.
So what are we getting here? We need to be good at what about
Ridiculously
16,
good
16
odds.
times, is it? 1 in 16? No, 16%.
Yes.
Does it show the odds anywhere?
On
Bottom
sorry.
right. Is that it?
That's probability of winning.
Oh, right. Oh, okay.
I'm trying to find if I can get. It should be saying the pot odds, 0.4 to 1. No, that's.
Let me just get the calculator. So it's 12 divided by that. 24. Yes, we need to be good about 16% of the time. The problem is, yeah, we don't know what's good.
No, I mean, you could be sitting there with. Again, with this many players going to the flop, I think if anybody had pocket threes or pocket fours, they're going to raise the flop. So I don't think there's any sets. I think we're just facing trip jacks.
Okay.
Here. So
well, yeah, then we can definitely find a call.
I mean, if you went 5 ways to the flop in a PKO tournament and flopped a set on a flush draw board that two people have bet into,
yeah,
you're going to raise, aren't you?
Yeah. And I suppose the benefit as well here, if they're sitting here with sitting like ace deuce of spades or ace deuce of diamonds, and we get the 5, then we're likely to stack them, likely to call to them.
Yeah. So and he makes it a third pot, the first guy, and then the second guy just calls. So I wouldn't bet that small with a jack with 2 flush draws on board. I'd be betting a lot bigger than that, I think. So anyway, I think it's a no-brainer to call.
Yep.
And Jeez, I folded.
Were you playing multiple tables?
Yeah, I was probably playing about 6 at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you'd have folded this if you were playing one table.
No, I'm really shocked at that, to be honest.
I mean, did you have any history with these guys?
Unfortunately, I can't see that. I can only see that
Yeah.
in game.
So it's not a hand that you specifically remember either. It wasn't like a tough decision at the time.
No, no. I mean, I can't believe I folded that. That's ridiculous for the pot odds I'm getting. I can only assume. I can only assume I was multi-tabling, and I don't know, just misread the bet size or something. All right, well that's a mistake.
Okay. Well,
Well, found first mistake, first proper mistake. Yeah, I can't believe I just gave that up.
I mean, you won't miss it next time.
No. All right. Don't think I'm defending 6-3. No. Nothing too funky yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, just folding there.
Yeah.
All right. Small blind, ace queen suited. Easy 3-bet against the button.
Yeah, I'm going to make it about 8 big blinds. 9.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely fine.
Just folds. Yeah, I think earlier on, I'm just making it slightly bigger because we're deep and people just want to call on the button. So
Yeah, for sure. That's fine.
oh, that's
Oh.
unusual.
I'm not sure I'd have done that.
No, I'm not sure I would normally do that either.
Again, yeah, I've got the charts from poker coaching up on my other screen at the moment. With Jack 10 offsuit facing a raise from the hijack at roughly 80 big blind stacks, you can call 25% of the time, 3-bet 10% and fold the rest. So it's certainly not a mistake doing it, as long as you don't do it every time. And the fact that you were surprised,
Yeah.
it implies that you wouldn't do this every time. So that's fine.
Okay, let's see what happens with. Right, so the pot's 9. The original aggressor just bets a quarter pot into 2 players.
So, I mean, before seeing your action, I think this is a good spot to go for a raise. It looks like he's betting his entire range here.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of people do this and then they defend very, very poorly against raises. We can steal the initiative here as well. And the benefit of us raising here is that he's likely, if he does call, he's likely to check the turn to us. So we get to see both cards for free, should we want them.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a small bet. I'd probably raise it to about 8 big blinds again here.
Oh, look at that. Mind reader. And we get a call.
Cool. And hopefully he will check to us as planned on the turn. Oh, he donks. That's unusual, a bit unexpected.
All right. What I know immediately, as soon as I see that, my first thought is this guy's on a flush draw.
To me, it seems that he wants to see the river as cheaply as possible.
Yeah, which means he's on a draw.
Yep. I mean, occasionally I see people doing this trying to invoke action.
Yeah, I do it to invoke action, but
yeah, but it's so infrequent.
Yeah.
And I probably want to put into the test now.
I'm saying 90% of the time, this is some kind of draw that wants to see the last card as cheap as possible. And 20% of the time, it's a set of 4s.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. So the pot's 28. Yeah, I go to about 70% pot here. 25. He folds.
What would you have done if he shoved? You're just going to have to let it go.
Yeah, given that I've only got a gut shot.
Open ender.
Oh shit, I'm open-ended. No, I'd have probably called it off. But I've put so much. Sorry, I was looking at it thinking I had a gut shot. I'd have called it off. I've put too much in the pot to fold now, I think.
Yeah, I suppose my only concern with that bet size is I think we could accomplish the same thing with a smaller bet size. I think if you'd gone to about maybe 18 big blinds,
Yeah.
you'd have probably got the same hands to fold without risking the extra 7.
Yeah. That. And then I'm just trying to figure out if I can do this and not have to call off if he shoves. The thing, if he shoves on me here, it's probably going to be like the ace-3 of spades, or yeah, a hand like that. And it's like,
So you'd have about 20% equity, I think, in that sort of spot. So you can hit a jack or a 10, but it couldn't be a spade.
yeah,
So that's 2 of each. That's 4 outs. Then you got the 3 ends each side, non-spade. That's
yeah,
10 outs. So about 20%
yeah,
equity total. So you probably still need to fold it.
yeah. That's pretty brutal.
And we're giving away a huge amount of our stack here as well. So if we went to 18, we'd have even worse odds facing a shove. So it'd be an easier fold and we'd save more of our stack.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like that. All right, that was that hand. I'm glad that was quite funny. So I think I'd raise this to 8, and that's exactly the number I came up with. I don't know why I'm looking through that hand. Okay, Queen 7 suited in the big blind. Easy defend.
Yep.
I think the hand's over for us now.
Yep. Yeah, straightforward enough. Cool.
Jack's on the button. Easy 3-bet.
Yep.
Shame I can't. It doesn't show you the players' names either. They do that on purpose so that you can't do exactly what we're doing and make lots of notes on the players you played against.
Yeah.
So this may or may not be the same person that I just had that Jack 10 offsuit hand with.
Yeah. No, I think that's fine. And just one thing I wanted to point out as well. You said easy 3-bet. We should actually be flatting about half the time here with jacks.
I don't think I'd ever flat jacks here.
No.
Especially in a PKO tournament.
Yeah. Okay.
They're too vulnerable, and yeah, it's a board. What was my stack size at the start of the hand? 76. Yeah, I'm probably not stacking off with jacks pre-flop, but below 60 big blinds, I probably would in a PKO. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand. I mean, you're stacking off without having the other guy covered, do you mean? Or
Yeah.
you call off 60 blinds?
Below 60 blinds and below, I'm on my stack.
Okay, gotcha.
Of effective stacks. Let's say effective stacks. So,
Yeah.
Because people will stack off with 8s, 9s, 10s to put in on ace king in these low buy-in PKOs. So to me, jacks is just too strong to fold pre-flop for less for 60 big blinds or less. So I'm never flatting this on the button and allowing the blinds to come along. I'm not gonna trap with this hand. And there's no shove stacks in the blinds either, so yeah, I can see why in a good structure freeze out, flatting jacks a portion of the time makes sense.
Yep.
I just don't think it makes any sense in a PKO.
Okay.
And we get the lovely big blind cold call of the 3-bet. Which is interesting. I think I'm range C betting on this flop and probably slowing down straight after that if I get called.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
So again, yeah, about 35-38% pot. and we get 2 folds. All right,
Yep.
that works out.
Yep, that's cool. Again, though, I would actually be going a couple of big blinds less than that. I think the difference for them calling 7 big blinds and calling 9 big blinds is going to be absolutely insignificant. But we get to save 2 big blinds when they do call, and over 100 hands, that adds up to 200 big blinds saved.
Yeah, I get you. I think I spent a lot of time this year at 5NL 6 max.
Yeah.
And anything less than about anything 33% pot or less as a flop C bet, I was getting callers almost 100% of the time with all sorts of garbage, because I just went, oh, it's a small bet, I call.
Yeah.
It'd be like a board would be, I don't know, Queen 7-3 rainbow, and I'd see bet in position against, say, the big blinds, and they called 2 streets with 8-9 offsuit because it was a small flop. Think, and then I don't know, maybe they think, I'm going to hit run straight or something.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you're 9 high with no draw and no pair. Why are you calling the bet on the flop?
Yeah, but isn't that a good thing for us though? Because the reason we're betting the range is because we've got a big range advantage, which implies we've got a lot of strong premium hands. Well, I mean, even our marginal hands are going to be strong. So if we are betting and getting called very wide, that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No. I mean, maybe that wasn't the best example, but yeah, I'm trying to think of a better example, but I'm a bit tired today. So
That's okay.
I just found people turning up on the turn on the river with hands I thought should have folded on the flop.
Yep.
And then losing to them hitting, I don't know, 3 to 5 outs on the river because they picked
Sounds
up.
quite results orientated to me.
It is, yeah. Because they picked up a gut shot on the turn or something, and then they made it on the river, and I'm like, how did you even get to the river with that hand? I was like, well, no, there's more. I just sized it up a bit because I'm like, well, if you are going to call 3 streets chasing thin air, then I might as well charge you a bit more for it. I think was the way I was thinking.
Okay.
Not that I'm wanting them to fold. I'm like, well, if you're gonna make really loose calls for 2 streets, then I might as well charge you a little bit more.
Gotcha.
It wasn't because I was trying to get more folds. It was like, okay, if they're just calling down small bets because it's a small bet, and in their head it's a check, they're like, he's made a small bet, so he doesn't really have anything. It's like he checked.
Sorry, Sean, go on.
But I'm trying to get the sort of the logic of how these other players are thinking.
But you did say to me that if you get called, then you're not going any further. So you sort of on one hand you've said that you know you're getting
I'm
called.
saying the sizing is a habit I developed in the small stakes cash game. But you're right. Yeah, if I can get away with, even if it was 1.5 big blinds less, consistently, you're right. That on hands I'm giving up on, that's going to save me a lot of big blinds. So yeah, I totally agree with you there. Particularly in the tournaments. Just so limp pots. Oh no, get squeezed right. You're never over calling in a spot like this, are you?
No.
I don't, so that's fine. Right, hand we might play.
Have we seen a heads up flop yet? I'm not sure if we have.
No, we probably won't for another couple of 100 hands either.
Okay.
It's the way this tournament went. Yeah, you're basically playing everything at least 3 ways to the flop. So I think, I think actually checking here is probably better.
Yeah, I think heads up, it's an easy small bet. Multi-way again. Ugh, it's just a bit of a nothing hand, isn't it? I don't know if it's marginal. I mean, it's not junk, is it? But it's clearly not premium or a
I
draw.
think the only reason I bet is it's such a dry board.
Yeah.
There's not. It's not like someone's sitting there. There's no gut shots. There's no open-ended straight draws. So if I get called, I can. It's pretty much a pair of some sort. There might be, I don't know, ace six of spades is going to want to see the turn. Maybe ace x of diamonds, but apart from that, everything else has got to be some kind of pair, surely.
So are you betting just to clean up equity then?
Yeah, I think I've got a reasonable chance of getting two folds on such a dry flop. That's the thing. That's the only reason I can think of for betting here.
Yeah. I mean, multi-way, I don't think we need to be betting our whole range here.
No, I think
we're only getting called when we're behind and we're folding out all the worst hands.
yeah.
On such a dry board, like you said, I think we do actually have some showdown value here.
Yeah, I actually looking at it, I'm thinking that I should have checked this flop.
Yeah, I think another king we could fire again because we've got a lot more kings in our range, but the 8 definitely is going to hit the button range better.
Yeah,
the problem is when we bet small, we need to defend with. I should bet this. I can't do this off the top of my head. We need to be defending very, very wide with our range here. Are you worried about overfolding in this spot?
not really.
No. Okay.
No, because he can't. Oh, I know some people will, but because there's another player in the pot. Oh no, he folded on the flop.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just you two now.
Sorry, when he calls my flop bet, there's still another player in the hand. So he shouldn't be calling my flop bet with nothing.
Yeah. But I mean, when he's betting 1/3 pot here, I think our minimum defense frequency was about 75%, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's tough. This is the problem we start getting ourselves into when we do see bet small. We swell the pot, we're out of position, and we don't really fold up many hands on the flop, so it's hard to know where we are here.
Yeah.
Do you think he's going to have many bluffs in his range at this point, or do you think he's betting purely for value?
Well, given that I've got the ace of clubs, I don't think he's betting that small for value, unless he does have a king and he's worried about me having an 8. But I think it's more likely to be a hand like pocket sevens that's betting for protection.
Do you ever check raise here?
If I had the ace jack of clubs, I might.
Yeah.
And obviously pocket threes. Kings, I think I would check call and then check raise the river. If I had pocket kings, that is.
Yeah.
But when it pairs and it pairs a card that's better for his range than mine, I think check raising here as a bluff is. Well, I suppose you can check raise fold. Yeah, it's a tricky one.
Yeah, I think your point about the ace of clubs was very important because that is a card that they would be bluffing a lot with. By having the ace of clubs in our hand, we are blocking a lot of his natural bluffs. Yes, we're not, by folding this, I think we are technically overfolding, but I think that's probably okay in this spot. I don't think he's going to be creative enough to find enough bluffs here.
Yeah, especially I'm sort of going back to the, on the flop there was another player in the hand, so he can't float me that wide. But you never know.
No, that's true.
All right, so we're done with that one. Right. Big blind. Yeah, defending the big blind.
I think I'm just folding that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very close. I think queen 9 offsuit, I would probably call. But Queen 8, I mean, it's only what, one to call into a pot of. Well, how much equity do we need to realise here? What, 14% maybe? And the chances are we're going to do it. But if we hit a queen, are we happy? Not maybe. If we hit an 8, are we happy? Probably not. I just think it's a spot where the best hand we're going to make is going to be very marginal. And if we face any action, we have to get out of the way anyway.
Yeah.
I think if you use a standard open size to 2.5 or 3 big blinds, then it'd be an easy fold. It's just the fact that it's just one more big blind makes it close.
Yeah. Yeah, and if we do hit, I don't know, 8-8-3 and someone gets married to pocket aces and it's a PKO, you know. But yeah, I think this was a speculate to accumulate. I think in a freeze out tournament, it's closer to a fold, but in a PKO, I think the additional implied odds of the bounties. I think it's worth seeing more flops for a cheap amount out of the blinds. I don't think anything happens here. No.
I mean, when it checks down to the river, do you ever bluff?
I contemplated it. If I had the Queen of Hearts, I would probably bluff.
Yeah.
With the Queen of Hearts, for example. Because the ace is out there, no one bet the king.
Yeah.
I can credibly represent, you know, Queen Jack of Hearts or something like that. But I think that's the only time I'd consider bluffing.
Okay.
I was tempted, because it checked through, I was actually tempted to bluff lead the turn, representing the 6.
Yeah, that could have been a good idea.
But
Well,
you have to go.
Are you getting aces or kings to fold there? I mean, kings probably would have bet the flop, but I don't think you're getting an ace off there, are you? You'd have to fire the river big as
You're
well.
not getting an ace to fold, and you're not getting a flush to fold, a flush draw to fold on the turn, and you're definitely not getting it to fold on the river.
No.
So I think that's what held me back from doing it. And then the original opener fires massive on the river, which kind of makes me think, you know, he might have had pocket kings or pocket aces.
Oh yeah, going for missed value. Yeah.
Yeah, because look at this. The plot's 7.4 big blinds, and he fires 17 on the river.
Yeah. I mean, do you have a calling range here at all?
Quad sixes.
Yeah.
No. That to me, that's only ever a full house.
Yeah.
A nutted full house at that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's got any bluffs there at all. So
I mean, he should. When he bets that big, he should have a lot. But no, I know. I agree.
Into 2 players, that's a I didn't get any action with my full house. So
yeah.
I hope someone's got a flush.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree.
Right. Limp. I'm just trying to think. What I would do here in a cash game. I'm probably raising this to like 6 or 7 big blinds versus the limp. I'm not sure I'll do it in a tournament. I do. I actually went to 9. That's a bit too big, especially when I get overcalled.
Yeah, I think 6.5. Oh, I think what is pot? So 3, 4, 4.5, 5, about 5.5 would be pot. Extra units, so about 6.5, 7.
Yeah, I think normally I would go to 7. I can't imagine why I went to 9 on this one.
I mean, you're not getting 9 of aces, are you? Are you? I don't know. You might be.
I might do.
I mean, clearly some of these players are very, very cool, happy pre-flop. We've seen a lot of sort of betting.
Yeah.
Balls.
All right, so I'm now out of position. I think this is a case of make a very small bet, hope he folds, or to hit the king of spades on the turn.
Yep. Yep. I think that's fine.
He calls Jack.
So we pick up a double belly buster, but
Yeah, it's pretty ugly because he could easily have a four. He could easily have ace jack here, ace queen. I think if he bets, I'm just folding. Yeah, because I just don't know which of those straight cards are good for me.
Mhm.
Yeah, if it was Jack of Spades on the turn, I'm definitely calling for my one outer at a royal flush. But apart from that,
So what do you think his calling range looks like pre-flop when he calls your 9 big blind isolation?
in a cash game, I could give you a very precise range. It's going to be pocket nines, pocket tens, pocket jacks, and ace queen. And in a PKO tournament, it's going to be any ace that he fancies, probably suited,
Yeah.
and all the above mentioned pairs. Anything else, four bets or re-raises.
What about smaller pairs? What about sort of 4s through 7s?
Sometimes some of the fishier play as well, for sure. I think pocket tens and above is probably gonna effectively four bet me because I made my raise size about a three bet sizing.
Yeah.
And yeah, some of the more passive players will just call that bet with ace king, basically trying to trap you on an ace high flop in a PKO. But I would expect most of the time to get to be re-raised by ace king. So I think he does have a lot of aces in his range. As weak as ace 10 offsuit. All the suited aces and up to ace queen, and I think ace king re-raises. So there's enough aces in his range. And potentially pocket tens and pocket jacks and pocket eights would be in there as well.
Yep.
So yeah.
Okay. That all makes sense to me.
What time are we at? We're at about an hour. Do you want to take a comfort break for a couple of minutes?
Entirely down to you, I don't mind.
Yeah, I'm gonna pause the recording